Good afternoon, everyone. This is Cynthia, Community Services Librarian, coming to you live from Hagaman Memorial Library here in East Haven. I have some new fiction that I'd like to highlight for you that we have available this March at the library. So without further ado, I'm going to talk to you about these new titles we have that you can borrow. Okay. So new and featured fiction at Hagaman Library for March 2024. So the first book I'd like to talk to you about is called Family Family by Lori Frankel. Okay, so Family Family by Lori Frankel. And this title is also available in Hagaman Library's large print collection as well. Um, so India Alwood grew up wanting to be an actor. Armed with a stack of index cards for research and line memorization and makeshift confetti, she goes from awkward 16-year-old to Broadway ingenue to TV superhero. Her new movie is a prestige picture about adoption, but its spin is the same old tired story of tragedy. India is an adoptive mom in real life, though. She wants everyone to know there's more to her family. There's more to her family than pain and regret. So she does something you should never do. She tells a journalist the truth. It's a bad movie. Soon she's at the center of a media storm, battling accusations from the press and the paparazzi, from protesters on the right and advocates on the left. Her twin 10-year-olds know they need help, and who better to call than family? But that's where it gets really messy, because India is not just an adoptive mother. The one thing she knows for sure is what makes a family isn't blood, and it isn't love. No matter how they're formed, the truth about family is this: it's complicated. So that's called Family Family by Lori Frankel. Right? Bear with me for just one moment. So the next book I'd like to talk with you about is called After Annie by Anna Quindlen. When Annie Brown dies suddenly, her husband, her children, and her closest friend are left to find a way forward without the woman who has been the linchpin of all of their lives. Bill is overwhelmed without his beloved wife. Anne Marie wrestles with the bad habits her best friend had helped her overcome. And Allie, the eldest of Annie's children, has to grow up overnight to care for her younger brothers, her father, and to puzzle out for herself many of the mysteries of adult life. Over the course of the next year, what saves them all is Annie, ever present in their minds, loving but not sentimental, caring but nobody's fool, a voice in their heads that is funny and sharp and remarkably clear. The power she has given to those who loved her is the power to go on without her. The lessons they learn is that no one beloved is ever truly gone. Written in Quindlen's emotionally resonant voice and with her deep and generous understanding of people, After Annie is about hope and about the unexpected power of adversity to change us in profound and indelible ways. That's called After Annie by Anna Quindlen. The next book is called Mrs. Quinn's Rise to Fame by Olivia Ford. Nothing could be more out of character. But after 59 years of marriage, as her husband Bernard's health declines and her friends' lives become focused on their grandchildren, which Jenny never had, Jenny decides she wants a little something for herself. So she secretly applies to be a contestant on the prime time TV show Britain Bakes. Whisked into an unfamiliar world of cameras and timed challenges, Jenny delights in a newfound independence, but that independence and the stress of the competition starts to unearth memories buried decades ago. Chocolate tea cakes remind her of a furtive errand involving a wedding ring. Sugared donuts call up a stranger's kind act. A simple cottage loaf brings back the moment her life changed forever. With her baking star rising, Jenny struggles to keep a lid on the first secret, a long concealed deceit that threatens to shatter the very foundations of her marriage. It's the only time in 6 decades that she's kept something from Bernard. By putting herself in the limelight, has Jenny created a recipe for disaster? That's called Mrs. Quinn's Rise to Fame by Olivia Ford. The next book is called Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Melors. 24-year-old British painter Cleo has escaped from England to New York and is still finding her place in the sleepless city when, a few months before her student visa ends, she meets Frank. 20 years older and a self-made success, Frank's life is full of all the excesses Cleo's lacks. He offers her the chance to be happy, the freedom to paint, and the opportunity to apply for a green card. But their impulsive marriage irreversibly changes both their lives and the lives of those close to them in ways they never could have predicted. Each compulsively readable character explores the lives of Cleo, Frank, and an unforgettable cast of their closest friends and family as they grow up and grow older. Whether it's Frank's financially dependent sister arranging sugar daddy dates to support herself after being cut off, or Cleo and Frank themselves as they discover the trials of marriage and mental illness. Each character is as absorbing and painfully relatable as the last. As hilarious as it is heartbreaking, entertaining as it is deeply moving, Cleopatra and Frankenstein marks the entry of a brilliant and bold new talent. That's Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Melors. The next book is called Antiquity by Hannah Johansson. On a Greek island rich with ancient beauty, a lonely woman in her 30s upends the relationship between a mother and her teenage daughter. Lust and admiration for Helena, a chick older artist, brings Antiquity's unnamed narrator to Ermopoli, where Helena's daughter Olga seems at first like an obstacle and a nuisance. But the unpredictable forces of ego and desire take over, leading our narrator down a more dangerous path and causing the roles of lover and beloved, child and adult, stranger and intimate to become distorted. As the months go by, the fragile web connecting the three women nears rupture, and the ominous consequences of their entanglement loom just beyond a summer that must end. With echoes of Death in Venice, Call Me by Your Name, and The Lover, but wholly original and contemporary, Antiquity probes the depths of memory, beauty, morality, and the narratives that arrange our experience of the world. That's called Antiquity by Hannah Johansson. Picasso's Lovers by Jean Mackin. The women of Picasso's life are glamorous and elusive, existing in the shadow of his fame until 1950s aspiring journalist Alana Olson determines to bring one into the light. Unsure of what to expect, but bent on uncovering what really lies beneath the canvas, Elena steps into Sarah Murphy's well-guarded home to discover a past complicated by secrets and intrigue. Sarah paints a luxurious picture of the French Riviera in 1923, but also a tragic one. The more Sarah reveals, the more cracks emerge in Picasso's once vibrant social circle, and the more Alana feels a disturbing convergence with her own life. Who are these other muses? What became of them? What will become of her? Desperate to trace the threads, Elena dives into the glittering lives of the past, but to do so she must contend with her own reality, including a strained engagement, the male-dominated world of art journalism, and the rising threat to civil rights in America. With hard truths peeling apart around her, it turns out that the most extraordinary portrait Elena encounters is her own. That's called Picasso's Lovers by Jean Mackin. The next book is called Mockingbird Summer by Linda Rutledge. In segregated High Cotton, Texas in 1964, the racial divide is as clear as the railroad tracks running through town. It's also where two girls are going to shake things up. This is the last summer of 13-year-old Corky Corcoran's childhood, and her family hires a Haitian housekeeper who brings her daughter, America, along with her. Corky is quick to befriend America and eager to share her favorite new grown-up novel, To Kill a Mockingbird. America's take on it is different and profoundly personal. As their friendship grows, Corky finds out so much more about America's life and her hidden skill. She can run as fast as Olympian Wilma Rudolph. When Corky asks America to play with her girls' softball team for the annual church rivals game, it's a move that crosses the color line and sets off a firestorm. As tensions escalate, it fast becomes a season of big changes in High Cotton. For Corky, those changes will last a lifetime. Set on the eve of massive cultural shifts, Mockingbird Summer explores the impact of great books, the burden of potential, and the power of friendship with humor, poignancy, and exhilarating hope. That's Mockingbird Summer by Linda Rutledge. The next book is called The Caretaker by Ron Rash. It's 1951 in Blowing Rock, North Carolina. Blackburn Gant, his life irrevocably altered by a childhood case of polio, seems condemned to spend his life among the dead as the sole caretaker of a hilltop cemetery. It suits his withdrawn personality, and the inexplicable occurrences that happen from time to time rattle him less than interaction with the living. But when his best and only friend, the kind but impulsive Jacob Hampton, is conscripted to serve overseas, Blackburn is charged with caring for Jacob's wife, Naomi, as well. 16-year-old Naomi Clark is an outcast in Blowing Rock, an outsider, poor and uneducated, who works as a seasonal maid in the town's most elegant hotel. When Naomi eloped with Jacob a few months after her arrival, the marriage scandalized the community, most of all his wealthy parents who disinherited him. Shunned by the townsfolk for their differences and equally fearful that Jacob may never come home, Blackburn and Naomi grow closer and closer until a shattering development derails numerous lives. A tender examination of male friendship and rivalry, as well as a riveting, page-turning novel of familial devotion. The Caretaker brilliantly depicts the human capacity for delusion and destruction, all too often justified as acts of love. That's The Caretaker by Ron Rash. And that's the end of our book talk. Thanks for tuning in, and please consider following us on social media for more recommendations and Hagaman Library goodness. Our handles are on Facebook, YouTube, and X are at Hagaman Library. Instagram and Threads is at Hagaman _East Haven. And to check out any of our new and featured fiction, please visit us either in person or online at www.hagamanlibrary, that's one word, hagamanlibrary.org. Thank you very much for joining me this afternoon. I hope you um, enjoyed this book talk, and I look forward to seeing you all next month in April. So have a great month and have a great day.